Manchester Buxton and Matlock Junction Railway ran initially from a junction at Ambergate towards Rowsley. It opened on the 4th of June 1849 and went no further, having run out of money. In previous videos on this line, we followed the route from Millersdale towards Wydale. In today's video, we'll be following the route from the northern portal of the Haddon tunnel on towards the Monsal Trail at the Hassop Station Cafe. The section between Rowsley and Buxton opened in 1853. By 1860, the line was completed westward towards Buxton. Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm down in Derbyshire. So we're going to be rediscovering the Manchester Matlock and Buxton Junction Railway following on from Haddon Tunnel. So I've got today with me Jess, as you've seen in previous videos, and we've got Johnny from Wet Dog. Now, Johnny's channel's now changed. Now, last time I saw him, his channel was named Wet Dog FBK, but he's now changed it to Wet Dog Explores. So do give him a subscription on his channel. So, just behind me here, we've got the northern end of the 1048 Haddon Hall Tunnel, which we did do in a previous video a few months back. There's the northern end, and if you can remember, I poked my head through that hole and we saw this gooey, you know, it's basically just abandoned land that it's got loads of railway sleepers, it's got like duckweed and all sorts. It looks like an actual canal, but that's the northern end of the Haddon Hall Tunnel. I will leave a link to the video in the description below. Now, there are a lot of railway relics that are around. We've got a few sleepers that are just up there, so they've been made into like an old fence, and then we've got a few chewed up ones just down in the corner here. Now we've got a few more railway sleepers just against that tree there, so that's been made into an old fence. Looks like you will have had more. Now, this would have been the top of the tunnel portal, so the northern end is just down here. So looking back that way, you can see one of the tunnel shafts that we pointed out when we actually did the Haddon Tunnel video. So our next section or piece of infrastructure that we'll come to on the line is the 3-arch Coombs Viaduct. So this is still a disused part of the railway before you get to the Monsal Trail. It's a nice stone structure. Now you can see the under arch have got red brick underneath. Now you can't get onto this viaduct, so we won't be going on there, but I have some drone footage. There's nothing big to see, but it's just an abandoned viaduct, although there is talks of potentially reopening this section as an extension of the Monsal Trail through Haddon Tunnel, which I did mention in the Haddon Tunnel video as well, but I'm not sure if that is going to happen. If you do know anything, do leave a comment. There's just a view of the structure. So if we just head up this road, so this is Coombs Lane. And if I just spin the camera around, there's another view of the viaduct. For a 3-arch, it's quite a picturesque structure. So as we now head on to the track bed that is now part of the Monsal Trail. You've got 2 entrances onto the Monsal Trail, so this is really good for family days out, walking, cycling, running, whatever you want to do. So you've got a pathway for bikes and then a pedestrian passing just up there. So this is the footpath onto the trail. Now this is the top of the Coombs Viaduct. Clearly see they do not want you on that viaduct. It's fenced off, and that goes back towards the northern end of Haddon Tunnel. So now we walk along what was an embankment. There's a lot of ballast still down. So we're coming up to the start of the trail now, because there is a footpath that leads back towards the viaduct, but you can't go on it. It's just worth a look. Well, the remains of something there. I think it's a foundation of some sort of post, but you can still see some metalwork It's also got a number 6 that's embedded into that, but if you do know what it is, please leave a comment. So we've come to this information board here. It talks about the history of the railway. Now you'll see plenty of these going up the line. So obviously this was the Midland Railways, from the London to Manchester. Obviously this was the Junction Railway that headed through Buxton. As we mentioned, it did open in 1863, closing in 68. And this is showing a train approaching Manchester towards the viaduct. So that'll be a section of the track bed that we never got to see, coming from the Haddon tunnel. And then it just gives you a little bit of information here about the trail, the Monsal Trail. So 8.5 miles. Well, the first part of the trail that comes from Bakewell. So we head on to an embankment. See, it's the converted footpath. Now there are some relics that we have come across and something interesting at Bakewell Station. So we'll show you when we get there. We have still got sections of ballast, but when this was converted back in the 80s, I believe, this would have just been pushed to one side, so this would have been part of the track bed. Now we're not far away from the Bakewell Station. Now this is what a disused railway is all about. So we've got here a cutting. It's nice and quiet around here. We've got here a red brick structure. Now there's nothing that's pinged on the maps in this location, however I believe it could potentially be a coal hut. So there is some red brick there, and then just in the bottom, I'm not sure if this is a blocked up drainage channel or if it was the foundation of a coal hut. Looks like Jess has found this. Johnny's just digged it out of the ground. Looks like what was a track chair, and it was actually embedded in there. Like I say, the line was converted in the 80s, so that's been there a long time. Some writing on there, but I don't know where it says, but that's definitely an old rusty track chair. I've got a date on it here. It says 1953. Wonder if these are they were made. And then it says LMH. I'm not sure what that means. It stands for London, Midland something. And then you've got these numbers just down in the corner. I wonder if that's a reference number. And the line closed in 68, but we have just pulled out this piece of coal that was just in the side there. As we head further north of the track, we have come across this bit of a relic. I think it was part of an old lamppost. It does look like it was. Got a hole in there. Yeah, it looks like it was potentially a lamppost. So I've come across this, what we believe was a, is it called a fire brick?
I think it's a fire brick.
Fire brick, yeah, so I'll just turn it around. So it's come off the loco, but you can see there how it's all burnt. Now just here, we believe there was a signal post because we've got quite a few of these cable tensioners that would have connected to the signal post. We've got one there. If we just go a little further up to the top of this cut in here, you can just see one there. It's got another metal rod sticking out of the middle. And then we just head a little further down the cutting. We have found another one just embedded into the soil just there. And if we just head a little bit more to the side of the cutting, we can find another one that's a little bit more obvious. So we believe the signal post would have been in the centre of all four of the tensioners to connect to the post. Now as we head along towards Bakewell Station, we do come across this infrastructure. Nice looking bridge, this stone bridge, and it does seem to have a bit of a skew to it. Again, it's the same construction as the one we saw before, so it's got like a, well, the viaduct, the stone base, and then it's got like a under brick lay, and then you've got some drainage that comes just down here. So I'm guessing when it's wet you'll see a lot of water coming through here. And then what's also interesting is you've got these metal braces that seem to tie all the infrastructure together, because you can see how much it's actually bolted in there. And then you see how it goes all the way around, so it kind of ties the structure together. And what you've also got is you've also got some kind of modern brick repair just up above those metal panels there. We do have another section that you can just see in the corner that's got a little bit of modernised brick repair within the stonework. You can see how the bridge does skew. I'm not sure where that actually goes because it doesn't bring anything up on the maps. Anyway, let's head on now towards Bakewell Station. Now there is a stairwell going up, leading onto a footpath just off the bridge. And Jess has just pointed out, yeah, you can see that these are made out of old railway sleepers. You can see all the holes in some of the wood. So that's looking at the bridge, and that's looking back down onto the track bed. So we're just heading towards Bakewell Station. Before we do head up, we have found what we believe is where there were another signal post, because we have found another tensioner here. But what's also interesting is, if we just go further down here, we found what we believe was support for the signal post, just hiding underneath this stone. Now I have had a look slightly further along to see if there was any more like the one you saw further down, but I found no evidence of any more. So yeah, we believe that we've come across another signal post. Now as we're towards Bakewell Station, you can see here that there's a dip in the ground as we head up towards it. Now it looks like there's been a lot of reclamation work here, where some of the track bed has been put to a higher level, and then obviously it's been converted into its footpath. Now it's quite interesting when we get to Bakewell Station, because you can clearly tell evidence that the track bed was at a lower level. So here is a bridge coming up towards the station site, and there is still a lot left. Now as we head towards Bakewell Station, as I was saying about the track bed infill, it was the end of the Bakewell Station's platform. Now you can see the dip there where it would have obviously you know the shape of a platform. We can see that there's the infill, so it would have probably been about 4 feet lower. We can see the corner of the platform edge. A lot of it is obviously destroyed due to the conversion of the track bed to the Monsal Trail, but it does continue for quite a distance, and you can see how the ground I'm walking on is level. But yeah, the track bed would have been very low. As you can see, it goes a lot higher, and this is coming to the site of the station. So you've got this bridge. Now you can see the train would have never have got under here in a million years, so definitely it was lower down. So there's another look at the platform. So I'm actually walking now on what was the platform edge. Trains would have been here. So again, you've got that similar style structure with the red brick underneath and the stone base. Now the track bed, it looks like there's been a bit of reclamation work here. So this spoil heap here has obviously been put in, and obviously now nature's overgrown, but trains definitely would have been going through here. Now you've got here what we've got remains of station buildings. So here you've got the site, well, station building of Bakewell Station. So this would have been one of the main station buildings. You've got another station building just on the other side there of where probably the other platform would have been buried underneath here. So this land has all been reclaimed. You've still got here where the platform edge would have gone. And what's also interesting is the station did have canopies that went over, and you can see the shape there where the canopies would have obviously hung out of. You've got here what remains of one of the steel posts that would have held up the canopies. So you can see it just in the ground there. You can see on the other side there where the canopies would have come down as well. And now I do have a photograph that was taken in 1905, credit to Wikipedia, where you can see the station building and all the canopies that are still up. You can see on the other side there where the canopies would have come down as well. And now I do have a photograph that was taken in 1905, credit to Wikipedia, where you can see the station building and all the canopies that are still up. Now in 1948 it was passed on to the London Midland region of the British Railways, and it did actually escape the Beeching Acts before it did obviously sea services in 1967. Now here's a view of Bakewell station from the outside. As you can clearly, at the moment there's no purpose. So here you can see where the sidings went off behind the Bakewell station. It was controlled by a signal box just south of the goods shed. Now for some reason the part of the station's cordoned off, but there is down there some information on the Bakewell station, but I can't get over there to see what it says. But up there you can just see a bit of a cracked, and I think that's probably why the it's been blocked off, because it looks like it's quite derelict. So I'm wondering if it's looking like it's probably going to collapse at some point. There is a little side path onto the back of the other platform and the station building, and it looks here like we have got a little opening to one of the old waiting rooms. Now I'm just going to have to be careful when I go in here because it could be quite derelict. And look at that, got a fireplace that's still in there. This would have been a waiting area, one of them anyway. Now, like I say, it is derelict, so I'm not going to go in. Just need to be careful because I don't know what to expect. There could be open floors or anything. But there you can see the roof, the ceiling that's come through. Probably why it says to not go in the front, because of potential collapse, so I'm not going to go too far in. But yeah, this would have been one of the waiting rooms of the Bakewell station. As we walk past the Bakewell station, I believe we've got here what was the goods shed. Now this building here has obviously been put in front of it, but this still remains for some sort of purpose. I don't know where it is. We can still see an original door just there, or window. Obviously it's blocked up by this new building. You can see the other side, and again you can see another original door just behind there, but obviously that building there is blocking. That's where all the trains would have been maintained. You also would have had a sidings that would have gone on just behind where this new building is. Action. So that back that way we had Bakewell station. We're now heading up to the next station, which was Hassop. So we now are on a quite substantial embankment here. See that little structure there? Now there's nothing marked. Well, there is something marked on the maps, but there's nothing that states what it is. You can see it's quite derelict. Now it is on private land, it's barbed wire off, so we can't go on and see, but any guess as to what it is, please do leave a comment. So we've come across this next bridge that carries Baslow Road across the A619. Again, similar structure to what we've seen further back on the line. Stone base and red brick under arch. You can actually see some remains of some soot that's been left behind of the locomotives when the steam trains were operating. Now around at this point, just before you get to the Hassop station, there was a signal box that's marked on the 1940s to 1970s map. Now that was to control a junction towards the goods shed. So we're just looking around here where the site of the signal box was, and we have come across what we believe was the signal box. So there's a bit of stonework here. I believe it would have been made more out of brick, but you can see here there's a bit of stonework in the spot of where the signal box would have been to control the junction. So potentially a slight little misjudgment where we believe that the signal box was slightly further down here, but we have found a photograph of the signal box looking towards Hassop station, and you can see this was the site of the junction towards the goods shed and the station going that way. And what we found here are the bottom of some potential supports that held up the signal box that you can see. There's some there, and if you just Go a little further back, we can see another support. So we believe that the signal box actually sat right in this spot just here, and judging by the photograph we believe that it was. Here we are, the site of Hassop Station, the main station buildings that's still in situ. It's now used as a cafe, and it's also good for hiring your bikes if you want to hire a bike to cycle the Monsal Trail. I'll show you that in a second. But again, just like Bakewell, you can see up there where the canopies would have been. Now there's no evidence of where the supports would have been. There was also on the left another station building with canopies. You can see this photograph of this bridge in the background showing the site of the station and what it used to look like. Here's an information board giving you some history on the Hassop station. So this photo taken in 1910, and it's got a picture of the station master's house. Now the station master's house looks like it would have been just down that way. Now looking at this, in World War I, it was used by the soldiers. And this photo here taken in 1951, and it had already lost use of passengers. And the glass canopy that was at the end of the platform down there had already gone. The station opened in 1862 and it closed in 1942.
Hassop Station provides a well-seated bar area where you can sit down and have a drink whilst taking a walk. You've also got a small kids section. It also provides a bike hire store as well as a gift shop and also an Airbnb.
It's been a very interesting exploration today on the Monsal Trail, obviously the old Matlock Buxton Junction Railway. So thank you from myself, Jess and Wet Dog. So on the next video we're going to start from here at Hassop Station up towards, what was it called? Great Longstone. So we're going to go through that area anyway and see what the exploration brings us. So take care for now. Please subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to Johnny's channel as well. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.